So I thought I would make a skinning tutorial on for o2jam because not many people know how to skin in this game. So we've got a default folder here. It's like basically just downloaded. I'm doing it on a virtual machine as well because I have a Mac, and for this tutorial we're going to be converting this o2 skin into an o2jam skin. So the first thing that I would recommend doing is like setting up a skin folder so that we can use the o2 graphics ext selected skin feature. So just make a folder and call it skins, and then inside make a folder with the skin name, and I'm just going to get the skin name, so that's going to be our skin name. And then in this o2 graphics ext.json folder, open it with like Notepad or any text editor, and this selected skin line in the quotations, write down the name of the skin. Once you've done that, copy the o2 graphic ext.json file and put it in your new skin folder, just another one, and you can remove the selected skin line from here. Alright, now I'm going to show you how to extract the note images from the o2.exe. So there's this tool called Estro Multi-Tool, and once you load that, it will show a menu like this. You want to click Client Image Editor, and that will bring you to the screen. So I would recommend exporting every one of these images, and you can do that like this. So click on Open o2.exe and navigate to where your o2.exe is stored, and change the client type to o2jam, and that will show the image preview correctly. If we just export these one by one by clicking on it and clicking Export Image, let's just put that in the o2jam skinning folder that I'm using for this demonstration. Export every one of these. Also, another thing, before you close Estro Multi-Tool, you need to make sure that if you go into Advanced Playfield Editor and open the client, make sure that make sure that this checkbox is not checked, so that o2 graphics ext can do that on its own, and set short note thickness to 0 as well. And now I know there's not very much documentation for this that's easily accessible, but I've collected some messages from the Discord channel that explains how this works. So note texture is set to round. It will attempt, o2 graphics ext will attempt to load note textures from a folder. Now, whether this folder is the image folder in o2jam or whether it's the skin folder depends on whether you have the selected skin feature set up. If you don't have anything in the selected skin feature, it will attempt to load these files from the image folder in o2jam, and if they're not there, it will just load them from o2.exe instead. So given we're setting it up with selected skin, we're going to want to put these files in the skin folder that we just made. And the names of these files are actually slightly different to the names here. So firstly, given we're not actually using the square notes, we can delete these. And so the names actually, instead of being blue round long note and blue round note, we're just doing blue note, blue long note, no spaces. So this is blue long note, blue note, white note, white long note, yellow long note, yellow note. And similarly, the names are different for the target bar and measure line. So instead of being target bar with a space, it's just target bar, no space. And instead of being measure guideline, we're just measure line, no space. And we can also remove note guideline length. There we go. And now we can just copy all these files into our skin folder. There we go. So that's what our skin folder looks like after doing that. Another thing that o2 graphics exe does is it loads a playing.opi from the skin folder as well. So we can set that up by going into image, copying our playing1.opi, pasting it into skin folder, and instead of being playing1.opi, it's actually just playing.opi that it loads. Given we don't want the default o2jam notes for the skin, we're going to need to put these note textures onto the skin instead. And it does seem that it is loading the same images for long notes as it is for regular notes, so that's convenient. So I'll just open these in paint.net, but you can use whatever image editing software you would like. So I have these all open now. I will also open all of the o2jam textures. So the way o2jam notes are laid out are the yellow is in the middle, the white is on the index and ring finger, and the blue is on the middle finger. So if we look at the skin here, we want the purple to be on the middle finger, the white on the index and ring, and the yellow in the middle. So given this is just a plain note, we don't really need to worry about the frames because it's all a solid color. But if you were to worry about that, like if you were to make a circle skin or something, this note here is actually a 3-frame image. So the height of this file is 21 pixels, but the way it gets loaded in is the first frame is the first 7, and the second frame is the second 7, and the next frame is the third 7 pixels. This also works for larger image files, so if you were to make a circle skin, for example, you could have a long image. Actually, to show you what that looks like, I've just loaded up a skin that I made for my friend Chicken, just to show you what the long note, the note texture looks like for one of the notes. So this image is 63 pixels tall, but actually every 21 pixels is one frame. That's 63 divided by 3. So you've got one frame, and here is the second frame, and here is the third frame. So yeah, that's basically how you make notes with more complex shapes. So anyway, basically all we need to do with this is copy the colors over. There's not much more to it. This pink color actually is transparency, by the way, so if you ever need transparency in your notes, you can just pick this color of pink and use it as a transparency color. But we don't actually have any like gaps in our skin or anything to pick the color here and fill in this. Pick the color and fill the entire note and the entire long note with it. And that should be all for the notes. now we have all the notes here. Let's do the measure bar. Again, this is a 3-frame image. However, I don't think the skin actually has measure lines, so all I'm going to do then is just make this solid black and save. The target bar is a little bit more complex, and it's where you actually have to be paying very close attention to the fact that it is actually a 3-frame image, because most likely you don't want your target bar flickering up and down. So if you don't get the position exactly right, that becomes an issue. So I'm just going to get the Mania stage hint, which is the target bar image that the skin is using. It looks like that. And the way that I like to do this generally is I make a new layer on the foreground and I copy this over. I move it down, I scale it to fit nicely. I move it down, making sure none of the glow overlaps. That should be about good. Every frame is 73 pixels, which looks like that. If we look at my bounding rectangle size, it's 73 pixels tall. And so what I'm actually going to do is, in order to mark out what this looks like, so I can perfectly align this, I'm going to make another layer. I'm going to fill it with a color, and it can be any color you'd like, just to use as a marker basically. I'm just going to copy and paste on the second layer and move the note down until the bounding box is perfectly in line there. And I'm going to do the same thing again. So on this third layer, I'm now going to fill that in. I'm going to copy here, I'm going to paste, and I'm going to move it down until the bounding box is right there. And now I'm going to remove this third layer, and I'm also going to just make sure that this back layer is all black, and there we have our note guideline, or our target bar image. Cool, so now we'll save that. You might need to select BMP as the file type because we've made layers and we need to flatten it now back into one layer. There we go. So now that's saved. That is all the images fully made that O2 Graphics EXT will dynamically inject into our skin. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to be setting up. So let's just go down into our skin folder here, and this playing.opi is basically stores all the textures that we haven't already set up. So in order to actually edit those files, we need to use God tool, and we'll just run that. So God tool looks like this. If we go into file and then open, we can open our playing.opi file, and it shows all the textures just like that. And if we hit XY render correction, we can see them in the top corner, all of them. The first thing we'll do is set up the judgments, because those are nice and easy. So the judgments, we have note bad, and there are 12 images, one for every stage. By convention, if you're only going to skin one, you would skin the third stage, and I'm lazy, so I only ever skin one stage. So you would have notepad 3, note cool 3, note miss 3, and note good 3. These are the three judgments that we're going to be using. So in order to export one, you just right click, click export image package, like that. Do the same with cool and with good and with miss, and these export to folders in your skin folder like that. So the first judgment I guess we'll set up is the cool judgment. So if we look for the judgment files in here, I'm just gonna, oh yeah, here's the marvelous judgment. So I'm just gonna move those all. So I'm gonna use 0, I'm gonna use 100, I am going to use 200, and I'm gonna use 50. I wasn't actually gonna use 100, I lied there. So these are the three judgments that I'm going to be actually using. So I'm going to open all of these in paint.net, and I'm going to copy them. I'm going to copy the marvelous judgment. We're going to make a new layer, and we're going to paste it onto this new layer, and we will keep the canvas size. And I'm just going to try and align it in there so that it fits. Just like that, and then we will delete the background there. So we're going to save this and as a BMP, and we're going to overwrite it, and we're going to flatten. There we go. And actually what I like to do for the other images in, for example, the good one, we'll do that next. What I like to do is I actually like to take the previous image, there we go, and I like to use that for scale, so I can see how big the gray needs to be. So again, we'll make a new layer on top of that. We will keep the canvas size, and we'll just move that and scale it so that it is around the same size. The G seems a bit bigger than the M there. That looks to be the same height, and we'll put that approximately in the center, and then we will just remove the marvelous from the back, and we will save this as BMP as well. And now I've shown the process, I'm just going to do that for the next two as well. Okay. And with those all saved, we now need to import them back into GodTool. So the way we do that is we just right click on it and import image package. And as long as the folder is in the same location as it was before, everything will import correctly. You can just click on it again to see the preview. There we go. So that is that, and we can just file and save, and that will save the changes to the playing.opi. And now we can delete these folders too. So now for the combo. So for the combo, we want to export the note combo num3, export that. And this image actually has multiple frames, so we need to put these in one by one. And so I'm actually gonna get the notes from the skin, or the numbers from the skin, go like this. Bang. We will open all of these like that, and then I'm just gonna go through these one by one and replace them. And for this, actually, I'm gonna use a paint.net plugin called Align Object. which basically can align a layer in the very center very easily, and then I can remove what's on the background, and there we are. So another layer, bam. So that's basically the process for this. Add another layer, paste it in, align object, and remove what's in the background. So I'm just gonna cut to when that's done. Yep, so all of these frames are saved now, so we can just delete all of these because we don't need them anymore, and let's import the combo num3 back in, and as you can see we've got a combo now. So if you were wanting to do for example hit effects, you would do the same thing. So we've got note click 1, note click 2, so that's what they correspond to on the o2jam skin. And you also have a long note effect here, that's that. And you have long note effect 2, long note effect 3 for the white, blue, and yellow notes. And so that's basically, you basically do exactly the same thing. You have a multi-frame image, you replace them all with your hit lighting, and that's the way you do hit lighting basically. And so the last thing that I'm actually going to do is set up the background. So we probably don't want the default o2jam background, so we'll export that. First, actually, I'm going to save just to make sure everything's okay. We've got our plain background here, and so this is a 600 by 800 image of the background. If you're using like DG Voodoo, it will stretch to whatever your screen resolution is, so keep that in mind. Now what I'm actually going to do to set up this is really probably not the best way to do it. I'm just going to make a new copy of this, so we'll go File, New. And what size is this? So we have, there we are. So that's just a copy of this image, and we're gonna resize to 800 by, we won't maintain aspect ratio, we'll go 800 by 600, and we'll scale that, and that will look like this. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete everything that we don't need in the skin. So let's just zoom in so we can see everything here. So actually we want to be deleting all of this. There we go. That's good. We want to be deleting the health bar. And the latency. And all of the stuff up here. And that is basically the laziest way possible to create the Mania stage. So let's just copy this over to here, and yeah, That's basically it. If you wanted, you could make some like fancy UI, you know, but I don't know. It's kind of fine to just leave it like this, I think. So let's just, we don't need to save that one, but let's save this one. And there you are. That is the Mania stage edited. Let's just import this back in, playing BG3, import, and there we are. And so we'll save that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we need to edit here. Oh yeah, the health bar. Oh yeah, so it's actually right at the bottom. It's called life gauge bar. And this is really easy to edit actually, because it's literally just one image. We export that. And let's get the health bar from here. Yep, so I think this is it here. Let's just copy that. Or actually first, we will rotate it the other way actually. Egg, there we go. So that is our score bar. We'll just copy that and we'll open, don't need that anymore, we'll open this here. And for this, all we need to do is make a new layer, paste it over, keep the canvas size, and let's position this. There we go. And then for the background, we just want this transparency color, so we'll use the color picker on it. Sorry, that was my mistake. It is actually crucial that you make sure that every pixel is the same color, and I think I had some slip ups with the transparency color where it wasn't actually the right color. So I think that should be actually good now to import back in life gauge bar, and we'll just import, and as you can see, the transparency is perfectly fine now. And we'll just save that. So I think that is actually everything for this file. So now what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to be doing the aligning of everything, which I'm actually not going to do on this virtual machine because I cannot run o2jam on the virtual machine. Okay, so now I'm on my main desktop to show how to put actually all the elements into the right position, which is basically the final step. So I'm gonna launch the game on offline mode, and I'm just gonna, given I'm on Mac, my loading time is really terrible, so I'm gonna pick the song that loads the fastest for me, which is the song. It kind of sucks, not gonna lie. I don't know how it's still in the game. But yeah, so the way I do this is I just run the game and see where everything's positioned. And at the moment it's still obviously over there, which is not what we want. So we come in here, we edit the o2 graphics ext.json, and the first thing that I'm going to change is the column start here. So we'll just adjust this over to the right by increasing the value. We'll put it to like 200, say, and then we'll save that. We'll go back onto DMJam, and I'm just going to do /autoplay 1, which enables autoplay. So I can see here, now it's moved over to there. We've still got a little bit left. As you can see, the song is awesome. So we just have to adjust it a little bit more. And also what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the desktop audio so that you don't have to listen to that garbage. We'll go 250 and we'll see what that's like. That's getting really close, maybe like 2 or 3 pixels over, and it will be good. So I'll move that to 252. We'll see what that's like. And that is perfect. So now we're looking to increase the width to get the other side over. So for that, we've got lane width here. We'll try putting them all at 45 and see what it's like. So lane width is the width of each individual column. See what that's like. That is a bit too wide. Let's try 41. How about that? It needs to be just a little tiny bit more. So let's try 42. And 42 looks like it's 1 pixel off. So what I'm actually going to do to fix this, I think, to fix this, I'm just going to make this middle column 41. I'm sure no one will notice. Oh, it's actually 2 pixels off. That's even better. So instead, we're going to make these outer 2 columns. Oh, we'll make these outer 2 blue notes 41. And that fits pretty much perfectly. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to change, for some reason these all say 5. I need to change these to 3 because I'm going to be editing the map 3. So if we put this initial scale here up, that should make it so that the combo doesn't bounce around, or the judgment doesn't bounce around as much. As you can see, it's a lot more stable. I think it looks better. And I'm just going to, one by one, come and put these down to like maybe 0.7, 0.7, just to make the judgment smaller, like how it is on the original skin. 0.7 and 0.7. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so the Marvelous is actually bigger, and I know exactly why that is. It's because the initial scale there should be below and scale limit 0.7. There we go. That's a lot more. That's a lot better of a size for the Marvelous. The combo, we're going to put combo num. I'm going to put that way down to like 0.3, something like that, and we'll see what size that is. There we go. That's quite a good size. And as you can see, the digits are really spaced apart. So let's fix that. So what we actually need to do for that is change the digit width down to something like 12, maybe we'll see what 12 looks like. Okay, so it needs to be a little bit more than 12. Maybe 16. Or, yes, 16, something like that. And so maybe a bit bigger. We'll say like 22. If 22 is good, that's convenient as well. Yep, 22 looks good. Maybe 82. Let's see if that's centered. And it appears that that's, yeah, maybe like 83 or potentially 84 will be centered perfectly. Yep, that looks perfect to me. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the text that says combo. We're just going to do that by making it 0 scale. That should get rid of it. And as you can see, it's gone. And what I actually want to do is if we come over here and up here is actually a section called offsets. We're going to raise the judgments. So subtract, say, 70 to put them up some, and I'm going to do the same with the combo number. So we move that by 70. We'll do the same with the combo. We'll go 70 up on both of these, the starting Y and the target Y. So that's actually, that minus 70 is 195, and then this minus 70 is 165, and as you can see, that is now higher. That looks pretty good. Another thing that we can do here to stop the combo from bouncing as much is we can change the target Y to be closer to that. So I'm just going to put it at maybe 180, and we will change the increment to be half as much. And now it's just bouncing less. Right, so now I'm going to get this character, or all the characters actually, out from the middle of the screen over to around here. So the way we can do that here is we've got these players, and so player 1, the start X and the end X is what I want to be changing. I'm just going to move them both maybe 200 across. So that should be like that. And that looks pretty good. Yeah, so player 2 is already moved across. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to align it with player 4 here, or with player 1. I'm going to align the X, and instead I'm going to move it 200 down-ish. Okay, so actually instead of that, I think I'm going to move it, so let's go 504, and this is going to be 204. And we'll do the same with player 3. So I'm going to align it on the X like that. And then on the Y, what we're going to do is we're going to put it 100 down from player 2. So it's going to be 304, and this will be 604. That should be the player positions. We don't need to worry about 7 and 8, as I said. And if we look at that, I mean, we can only see one player, but the other ones will be around here and around here. I'm just going to move that maybe like 1,000 that way. That will just put it off the screen. Oh, that's jam gauge text, that's why. That is why. Let's just move it 1,000 that way. That should put it off the screen. And as you can see, we no longer have a jam bar. And now I'm going to align the health bar to where I want it. So down here there is health. And I'm just going to move it maybe 400 across and see where it puts it. So now it's over there. So maybe 300. That's too small. 330. And 330 is almost correct. 335. That should be good. There we go. So now the health bar is correctly positioned. And next I will change the hit position. We'll put it down to maybe 510, something around there. And that will put, oh, that's not quite, I think I wanted a bit lower, maybe even 540. There we go. And I think actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to align the health bar with that. So it was aligned at 510. So I think if I move it down by 30, the health bar. So let's just add 30 to the Y. That's perfect. Cool. And then let's just make a little interface over up here probably. So we want to move this here, we want to move the song title there. So for the song title, it is in the B&D section. Over here, song title, start X, maybe over by 150, so it was at 316, we'll move it to 466, and then we'll move this to 766 like that, and maybe we'll move it down by 20 or so, 566. So that's basically in the correct position. So I think it was just behind this thing here, this interface thing, which actually needs to be removed. The next thing is these counters. Basically for these, I think we'll just put the Y as 75, 85, 60, and then we'll move them across by 300-ish over to 9, and then 1021, 951, 1021, 951. Let's see where that puts them. And that looks to be fine. I might move the max combo back just to be in line with that. So that would be to 951. There we go. So that's a little interface there. Song title is probably up behind that thing. I don't really know. And strangely, the time bar is not editable within here, so we'll have to go back into God Tool for that one. But we have to do that anyway, so yeah. Okay, so here we are back on the virtual machine. I've just copied the playing one, or the playing.opi back here so we can edit it with God Tool. The first thing that we're going to need to do is remove the key effect, or the click effect. So we'll go to click 3 and click 1, and we just want to remove these. So export them, and so those will go into this, and let's just get paint.net and open all those up, and we just want to go through them and replace them with just black. There we are, boom. Okay, so all of these are black now, so let's just import them back, import, save. And let's just see here. Okay, so that is correct. I think there's an overlay image somewhere here. Yeah, so here it is. So we just need to export this too. And here it is. And this image, we can just pick a color here. So that is the transparency color. Perfect pink. Make it all transparent and save it. There we are. And then we can import that back in like that. Yeah, so this buffer, actually, we don't want this either. So let's export this and pick the transparency color. Bang. And import it back. Save. And actually, the one last thing that I'll do is show you how to move the progress bar, because for some reason you can't do that in the O2 graphics ext config. So just click wave gauge here, and you can see the position it's at now, which is like the top middle. I'm just going to move it down to around the bottom middle. So you can go into options here, and here's your X and Y positions, 600 being the lowest possible. So I'm just going to move it down to around 580. And if we go into the preview and we scroll down, we can see it's at the bottom there. Maybe actually 570 is better. And there we are. Yeah, there we are. That should be okay. We'll go with that. And actually, maybe I will have it at the bottom corner. So I'm just going to put like a 10 offset for the X, and that is right at the corner there. And we'll just save that, and we'll move it over to the main desktop for the final test. Okay, so we're here on the main desktop for the final test. Let's just get the map. It's level 88 there, and we'll also play 1. And that seems to be like perfect. Yeah, I think it's done. That's basically all there is to skinning this game.